Hello students, ang topic natin ngayon ay impulse-momentum relation. Let a ball with mass 0.16 kg moves at this direction with initial velocity of 5 meter per second. Suppose an external force of 0.8 Newton acts on these objects with a short time of 2 seconds. As a result, the initial velocity will change the ball to start moving at its new velocity, which is 15 meter per second. So the external force of 0.8 Newton changed the initial velocity 5 meter per second of this ball into final velocity 15 meter per second in a short time of 2 seconds. Also means that if there is no force applied to this object, there will be no change in velocity. So how does force change the velocity? It is because of the acceleration produced by the force. According to Newton's second law, force is equal to mass times acceleration. And according to the first equation of motion, acceleration is equal to velocity final minus velocity initial all over delta t. Substituting the equation of A to equation of Newton's second law, we have F is equal to mass times Bf minus Bi all over delta T. And multiplying M to the both velocities, we got M Bf minus Mbi all over delta T. Which, when we multiply time into force, we got F times delta T is equal to Mbf minus Mbi, which mass times velocity is equal to the formula of momentum, which is P is equal to Mb. So this means it is a change in momentum. And force times delta T, it is the formula for impulse. So what is impulse? Impulse is a term that quantifies the overall effect of a force acting over time. It is conventionally given the symbol J instead of I and expressed in Newton seconds. So J siya para hindi tayo malito since maraming pwedeng maging meaning si I. So yung symbol na J na lang yung ating usually ginagamit. So impulse is equal to force times delta time, so change in time, or equal siya kay change in momentum na equal siya kay mass times final velocity minus mass times initial velocity. This equivalence is also known as the impulse-momentum theorem. Because of this, we can make a direct connection between how a force acts on an object over time and the motion of the object. So how can we calculate impulse of an object? So suppose this object is moving at this direction. Let the initial velocity be 10 meter per second and its mass be 15 kg. Now, force 30 Newton acts on this object at 0.5 seconds. So, let us find the following. So, A, impulse, B, change in momentum, C, final velocity, and D, final momentum. So, syempre, start tayo kay letter A. So, to find impulse, we use the formula. Impulse is equal to force times change in time. So, force is equal to 30 Newton and time is equal to 0.5 seconds. So, 30 Newton times 0.5 seconds is equal to 15 Newton seconds. So, our impulse is 15 Newton seconds. Then, we find the change in momentum. So, change in momentum is equal to impulse. And impulse, nakuha na natin siya, it is equal to 15 Newton seconds or equal siya kay 15 kilogram meter per second, which kilogram meter per second is the SI unit of momentum. Then, we find the final velocity. So, change in momentum is equal to mass times final velocity minus mass times initial velocity. So, alam na natin yung change in momentum. Yan ay equal kay 15 kg meter per second is equal to 15 kg na mass ng gulong times final velocity na hinahanap natin minus 15 kg yung mass ng gulong ulit at yung kanyang initial velocity na 10 meter per seconds. So, 15 kg times 10 meter, it is 150 kg meter per seconds. Then, dahil hinahanap lang natin si final velocity, let's transpose this to this side. So, 15 kg plus 15 kg meter per seconds plus 150 kg meter per seconds is equal to 15 kg times final velocity. 15 kg plus 150 is 165 kg meter per second is equal to 15 kg times final velocity. Dividing 15 kg both sides, we got 11 meter per second as a final velocity. Now, we find the final momentum. So, final momentum, para makuha siya, it is equal to mass times final velocity. So, mass is 15 kg and yung nakuha nating final velocity is 11 meter per second. So, 15 kg times 11 meter per second is 165 kg meter per second. So, impulse momentum problem. Yan, another example. A constant force of 40 Newton is applied to a 20 kg block for 8 seconds. What is the impulse acting on the block? What is the change in momentum? What is the final velocity of the block if it was originally at rest? What is the final velocity of the block if it was originally moving at 40 meter per second? So first, let us find the impulse acting on the block. So impulse is equal to force times delta time. So change in time. So force natin ay 40 Newton and we got time as 8 seconds. So, 40 Newton times 8 seconds is 320 Newton seconds. So, yan ang ating impulse. So, let's go for letter B. What is the change in the momentum? So, change in momentum is equal to impulse. So, therefore, change in momentum is equal to 320 Newton per 320 Newton seconds, or equal to 320 kg meter per second. So, yan ang ating change in momentum. While in letter C, what is the final velocity of the block if it was originally at rest? So, change in momentum is equal to mass times velocity final minus mass times velocity initial. So, change in momentum is equal to 320 kg meter per second. So, yan ay yan. Then, mass is 20 kg. Then, yung hinahanap nating final velocity if yung initial velocity is 0 meter per second or at rest. So, 20 times 0 is 0. So, hindi na natin siya isusulat. Then, so, meron na tayong 320 kg meter per second is equal to 20 kg times velocity final. So, hinahanap natin yung velocity final. Therefore, we divide 20 kg in both sides. So, we got 160 meter per second as final velocity if the initial velocity is 0 meter per second. So, in D, what is the final velocity if the block is originally moving at 40 meter per second? So, dito, ganun ulit. Yung change in momentum is equal to 320 kg meter per second is equal to 20 kg times velocity final minus 20 kg times yung initial velocity na kung 40 meter per second. So, 20 times 40, so 80. So, meron tayong 320 kg meter per second is equal to 20 kg velocity final minus 80 kg meter per second. Then, we transpose 80 to the other side. So, meron tayong 320 kg meter per second plus 80 kg meter per second is equal to 20 kg velocity final. 320 plus 80 is 400 kg. Then, dividing 20 on both sides, we have 20 meter per second as final velocity if the block was originally moving at 40 meter per seconds. So, kung natuto kayo, click like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you!